Hello everyone, my name is Nikos Antonopoulos and I'm a PhD candidate in the Department of Crop Science at the Agricultural University of Athens. Today I will be presenting on biological and agroecological weed management in arable crops within the framework of the OPERATE project. Weeds in arable crops can have a detrimental impact primarily because they compete with crops for essential resources such as water, nutrients, and sunlight, often leading to significant yield losses. In addition, the presence of weeds can reduce the quality of the harvested products, affecting its market value and usability. Now, regarding the biological weed management practices, these practices involves using natural methods to control weeds. This includes applying natural herbicides like pelargonic acid or hot foam treatments, developing and applying microbial herbicides from fungi or bacteria, and utilizing beneficial organisms such as insects, fungi, or nematodes that specifically target weeds. Pelargonic acid is a saturated 9-carbon fatty acid naturally occurring as esters in the essential oil of Pelargonium sp. It is non-selective and can be applied as a contact burn down herbicide. Its mode of action is the destruction of cell membranes. The phytotoxic effects acid are visible in a very short time after treatment when plant cells rapidly begin to oxidize and necrotic lesions are observed on the aerial weed tissues. There are several commercial pelargonic acid products such as Beluga, Kalina, Finalsan Ultima, Slasher. Although these products are expensive and we will talk in the next slide about their application under real field condition. So, under real field conditions, pelargonic acid can be applied for weed control in arable crops following the concept of stale seedbed. After the initial tillage operation for seedbed preparation, sowing is delayed. After that, rainfall events or irrigation, in the case of summer crops, stimulate weed emergence, and around 2 or 3 weeks later, crop seeds are drilled and emerged weed seedlings can be controlled with pelargonic acid treatment. Applying pelargonic acid for weed control in a stale seedbed can help crops grow better during their critical early stages by significantly reducing weed competition. Now let's talk about some facts regarding pelargonic acid. It tends to be more effective on young weed seedlings. Larger weeds tend to suffer from injury but display regrowth later in the growing season. A second follow-up treatment around 2 weeks after the first one is considered necessary to achieve good weed control. There is no selectivity in arable crops, and it is also suitable for directed spraying with caliber between rows in summer crops with wide row spacing as cotton. Another remark is that grass weeds tend to be less affected than broadleaves due to the lack of pelargonic acid selectivity and the narrow leaf area of grasses. Let's move on the hot foam. Hot foam application represent a new smart concept in the area of thermal wind control and are proposed as an evolution of simple hot water or steam applications. The advantage of foam is that it isolates the weed from the ambient air at the time of the treatment and transfers all the heat energy to the plant tissues instead of escaping into the atmosphere. The method overcomes drawbacks associated with the use of synthetic herbicides, conventional thermal weed control methods, and contact bioherbicides. Hot foam is applied with a foam stream machine provided by Weeding Tech company. The solution, foam stream V4, contains 100% mixture of plant oils and sugars. The tank content is 96% water and 4% foam stream V4. The emission class is Euro 5. The hot foam spreader is 30 centimeters wide and the flow rate is 12 liters per minute. The temperature of the water is 98 degrees. With this application, weeds at early growth stages are easily controlled. Weeds in advanced growth stages should be creamed first so that the foam covers the entire leaf area for best results. Until now, most research results come from non-crop areas. Hot foam is a non-selective bioherbicide, and in recent studies by our research team, we have found that this method effectively controls weed in the intra-row space of orchards and vineyards. In arable crops, hot foam applications can be performed with the stale seedbed concept, as explained already with the case of pelargonic acid. Selectivity should be evaluated in cotton due to the wooden stem of the plants at late growth stages. Now, the symptoms on weed tissues are visible at a very short time after treatment. Treated weeds smell like boiled spinach right after treatment. And it is very possible that hot foam application may sterilize the soil and cause weed seed mortality, reducing the weed seed bank, which is very important. Another biological approach for controlling weeds in arable crops is the development and the application of microbial bioherbicides. These can come from a variety of sources, including fungi or specific soil bacteria, such as endophytic bacteria and rhizobacteria. Naturally occurring plant pathogens are formulated and applied to weeds to infect and kill them through their natural disease processes. These pathogens can also produce toxins and other substances that are harmful to plants. There is a lack of robust data on the performance of microbial herbicides for weed control in arable crops, so more research is required to safely evaluate important parameters as weed control efficacy in large fields under real field conditions, crop selectivity, formulation, improvement of their short shelf life. Beyond microorganisms, beneficial insects play a crucial role in biological weed control, primarily by preying on or parasitizing weed species. This often involves direct feeding, where many of these insects consume weed foliage, seeds, or stems directly, reducing the weed's ability to thrive and reproduce. Furthermore, some insects can cause a disruption of weed growth. Beneficial insects such as sawflies, beetles, weevils, and caterpillars effectively control weeds by feeding on their leaves, stems, or seeds, thus reducing their growth and spread. In addition, insects such as the gallfly can disrupt the development of weeds by forming galls that interfere with the plant's normal processes. Beneficial nematodes can be used to control specific weeds by forming galls on them after application to the soil or foliage. Meanwhile, beneficial acari contribute to weed control by eating weed seeds and young seedlings and transmitting viruses that damage weeds. Let's continue with agroecological weed control and in particular the diversification practices, and we must start with crop rotation. The rotation of different arable crops in the same field can lead to weed suppression. Alternating crops with different needs and characteristics is associated with the adoption of different cultural practices as tillage, fertilization, sowing dates, irrigation management, etc. This does not let weeds adapt as in a continuous monocropping scenarios. Another crop diversification practice is intercropping. The simultaneous cultivation of crops that belong to different functional groups facilitates weed suppression in arable crops. The different crops exhibit complementarity in resource use making in the different crops exhibit complementarity in resource use, making the intercrop a strong competitor to weeds. There are four different types of intercropping. Mixed intercropping, where the seeds of all species are sown in the same place at the same time. Strip intercropping, where strips of one crop and strips of the companion crop are sown. Row intercropping, which means two or more species are grown alternately in rows, and relay intercropping, in which different crops are grown at least temporarily next to each other on the same area. Another agroecological weed management practice is cover cropping. Cover crops can cover the soil in the fallow periods to produce high amounts of biomass and suppress weeds. They are terminated at the flowering stage. Cover crop residues can be either incorporated into soil or remain on soil surface to reduce weed emergence and growth in arable crops. Cover crop residues influence soil microenvironment, reduce light exposure of weed seeds, and may display allelopathic effects. Some examples or group of species include cereals, legumes, and crucifers. Cereals are known for producing a large amount of biomass, while legumes are characterized by nitrogen fixation, and crucifers, on the other hand, are valued for their allelopathic activity, meaning they release compounds that can suppress weed growth. There are several other agroecological weed management practices in order to achieve better weed suppression. First of all, to enhance the competitive ability of the crop, we can use increased seed rates, narrow row spacing, competitive cultivars and hybrids. Fall seedbed by shallow tillage for weed control is also a technique that can lead to a weakening of the weed seed bank in the soil. Sowing date manipulations are also very important. And of course, mechanical weed control such as inter-row cultivation and intra-row weeding by Fleckstein harrows. And finally, the fertilization and irrigation management also play a crucial role for weed management in arable crops. Now I will continue with another facet of our work as part of the Operate project. I will present some fact sheets and practice abstracts for biological and agroecological weed management in arable crops. So you can see some fact sheets which describe the crop rotation technique from Greece and Italy. You can see crop rotation in cereal farming and crop rotation including perennial legumes. This next slide presents some practice abstracts for the same topic from Latvia and Sweden. Crop rotation including grassland and clover, and agronomical methods to reduce weed burden in arable crops. Next up, we're bringing you more and detailed information with some fact sheets about cover crops in arable farming in Spain, enhancing weed control and soil health, living mulches in arable systems from UK, and green manure and cover crops from Italy. Let's explore an additional set of practice abstract about using catch crops to suppress weeds, undersown crops as living mulch, and cover crops in arable farming in Spain, enhancing weed control and soil health from Latvia and Spain. I continue with a similar topic, and you can see two more practice abstract regarding dead mulch and living mulch in arable systems from Italy. Exploring further, here's a look at conservative tillage and eco-ploughing or shallow ploughing from Italy, some fact sheets. And now let's turn our attention to another set of fact sheets about fall seedbed technique in arable and open field crops, fall seedbed in cereal from Italy and Greece. I continue with the same topic, and we have here some practice abstract about fall seedbed method and fall seedbed in cereals for weed control from Latvia and Greece. Turning to a new focus, here is a look at an important topic, the variety selection, breeding, resilience into arable crops, and the competitive cultivars for weed competition in arable crops. These fact sheets are from Spain and UK. I continue with the same topic, and we have here three practice abstracts from Greece and UK regarding weed smart varieties for the future, the variety selection in cereals for weed control, and competitive cultivars for weed competition in arable crops. This next slide offers crucial information about mechanical weeding We have three fact sheets: mechanical weeding in Spain, reducing herbicide use in arable crops from Spain, integration of mechanical weeding and precision agriculture techniques in arable crops from Italy, and mechanical weeding in arable systems from UK. I continue with two practice abstracts regarding mechanical weeding in arable systems and mowing above the crop to remove weed seed heads before ripening from UK and Latvia. We have also some practice abstract with a similar topic regarding mechanical weeding. The first one is inter-row cultivation using GPS controlled cultivator from Latvia, and the other one is the mechanical weeding in Spain, reducing herbicide use in arable crops. Continuing with the similar topic, we have two more practice abstracts. The first is the mechanical weeding in arable crops using tined weeders, and the other is tine harrowing in arable crops from Sweden and UK. We have also some other practice abstracts regarding moldboard ploughing and harrowing as a weed control method in cereals from Latvia. Now let's shift our focus to cultural control in arable rotation for weed management. This fact sheet is from UK, and the next one, the mixed systems for weed control in cereals from Greece. Dive deeper with these fact sheets regarding smart and innovative solutions provided by our partners in UK. We have the topic of electrical weeding in arable rotations and laser weeding in arable rotations. Some practice abstracts with the similar topic is the electrical weeding in arable rotation from Latvia, electrical weeding, laser weeding, laser weeding in arable rotation from UK. And in this slide, you can see a practice abstract regarding camera guided mechanical weeding in arable crops from Sweden. This next slide offers important information for bioherbicides in arable crops of Spain, a natural and sustainable weed control strategy, and also bioherbicides in the UK. Finally, let's explore additional cultural control in arable rotations for weed management and grazing in arable rotations for weed management. These practice abstracts. I want to share with you that all this material you can find in Operate website online, and you can explore all this information. Thank you very much.